Everyone.
Good morning. How are you?
Good. So when you think of your best friend, the first person that probably comes to mind is maybe somebody you grew up with, maybe somebody from high school, maybe somebody you met here in college, maybe your sibling even. My best friend is bald, intrigued by the Sci-Fi and History Channel, and he's been on this earth for 60 years. His name is Dave, and he's my dad. And he's been in my life for 31 years. I cannot imagine my life without my dad, as he had such a huge impact on the person that I have become. My dad is and always will be my best friend. He took on both roles of a parent for most of my teenage years. He was the motivational force that guided me to start college. My dad was also a loving role model figure that allowed me to see that good men really do exist. I would like to start with how my dad played both roles as a parent. You can think of your mother and father and how their roles differ. Well, my dad fulfilled both roles throughout my teenage years when I needed him the most. At 15 years old, my parents' marriage crumbled as my mother was having an affair and she walked out. I can remember the amount of anger and sadness that I felt towards her. The worst pain was the sadness that I felt for my dad, knowing that his marriage had ended so suddenly and he lost the woman that he loved. She had left my dad, the most amazing human being in my eyes. Most nights I cried as my dad held me tight and reassured me that everything will be all right. My dad managed to wake up every morning, cook breakfast, pack my lunch as I prepared for school, and gave me the biggest hug imaginable as I ventured off into the world. Following his morning routine, my dad was a fine cook, as most nights, unless he was on night shift, he prepared dinner as we chatted about how our day went. I have to add that no matter how much emotional pain my dad was in, he rarely ever showed it. He also fulfilled his role as head of house, as he was the provider for both my brother and I. As hard as it was with one income coming in, living paycheck to paycheck, he somehow always managed to make ends meet. Clearly, you can see my dad accomplished both roles as a parent for many years of my life. I admired his hard work and motivation, which was the motivation I needed to start my career path. So ultimately, the force that guided me to start pursuing a career was my dad's motivation. During and after high school, I worked odd jobs, barely making minimum wage, as I knew my dad's financial struggles had increased over time. I felt lost and confused as to what the next chapter of my life would be. I knew my dad was a hard worker and provided me a good life. However, he always reminded me that sometimes working hard is just not enough. He managed to remind me of those exact words for most of my life until I decided to make something of myself. He often described a better life that he wanted for me, which had become so vivid that his words actually made a mental picture in my mind. The picture revolved around success, happiness, and love. That was the exact motivation I needed to guide me into a career path which started in the medical field as a medical assistant and will continue as a nursing career, which I hope to achieve success, happiness, and most financial goals. In addition to his motivation, his love allowed me to move on from the pain and hurt I endured during my own personal life. My dad was a loving role model figure that allowed me to see that good men still exist. After the sudden separation of my parents and the pain I endured, I had unconsciously built a wall from letting people get emotionally close to me. The best way to describe the feeling is as if the pain had literally latched onto my back and wouldn't let go for many, many years. The fear of letting someone in to just get eventually hurt was actually the mindset that I carried around for a really long time. I was trapped in darkness and began getting wrapped up in my own self-loathing patterns to try and escape the fear. The only way that I was able to move on and let go of the fear was remembering the man that I've had in my life that has been with me through thick and thin, which of course was Dave, my dad. The strong, loving role model qualities that he portrayed allowed me to eventually let go of the fear. His strong love throughout the years was able to literally bring me back to life. I would like to add that letting go of the fear resulted in an amazing 8-year relationship with my fiance, Joe, who has been my rock. In conclusion, there's actually a vast array of reasons why I consider my dad my best friend, but I just wanted to point out 3 qualities that stand out to me the most, which again was his role as playing both parents through most of my life, honestly, his motivational guidance, and his unconditional love that actually brought me back to life. I don't think he will ever realize that just his presence alone had such a huge impact on my life. In addition, my healing process started with reestablishing a relationship with my mom. I knew the reason I was not able to let go of the fear and pain I discussed earlier was because I had closed her out of my life for so many years. However, today I have a great relationship with my mom, and with time and effort, our relationship continues to grow.